Tennessee continues to add athletes, Jesse. They pick up Trinity Bell, 6'7", 255, 260 pounds as a high school junior. This kid is a big athletic freak of a player.
Yeah, and with Trinity Bell, it's a lot of kind of not all that dissimilar, honestly. Perhaps not with the upside, but of a guy like Dylan Brooks, there's just a lot of projection here. He hadn't played on a great team in Alabama, but it's hard not to salivate over a guy's frame. Obviously, the kid wants to play tight end. That's where he envisions himself starting as a day one college football player. But if he's already 255, 260 as a junior, you talk to guys. I mean, he's got that Tyler Barron body. I mean, he really does, just but taller, where it's not going to be hard to see him at 280 pounds, playing on the defensive line come a couple years down the road.
Well, Tennessee also, just looking to add pure athleticism. I mean, I know, just like with Jimmy Holiday, they give him a shot at quarterback. D. Beckwith, similar type things, give him a shot at the position he wants to play at. They're going to give Trinity Bell a real legitimate shot to play tight end. But at the same time, again, you don't know what a kid's body is going to do once it gets with the nutrition program, once it gets in the weight room. I mean, he's got a pretty good defensive highlight tape, a guy that could potentially come off the edge. And Tennessee, is all about just adding playmakers to this current team.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think he's a guy that if I'm talking about comps on this team, on the current team, I think he really does have some bumpus in him, but perhaps with just a little bit more explosion. He obviously has a longer frame. Latrell's not 6'7", but Latrell was a guy that was, had some weight. It could carry it, could move at that size, and that's why he, wanted to start his career at tight end. And yet, both staffs, even Butch's staff, kind of said, "Hey, maybe you ought to play defensive line." I want to go back to tight end. And then Jeremy convinced him a year ago, and look, he was a rotational guy, got some sacks, made some plays. I think ultimately that could be, Trinity Bell's path, or perhaps he's a guy that emerges as kind of a go-to tight end at just a freakish 6'7", 265.
As for Tennessee and what he brings to this class, to me, he just brings options. And Jeremy Pruitt is all about options at this point in time. But you can just look at Trinity Bell's game and realize he and then the potential for Miles Campbell are two guys that have not yet seen their best football, and it's still ahead of them.
Yeah, and I do think also there's, it never can hurt to have too many bodies. Now, it's way too early to write off the careers of Sean Brown and Jackson Lowe, but there was some hope that they could contribute as freshmen, and that didn't happen. And now we'll see what happens with them in their redshirt freshman years. They obviously don't land Darnell Washington and Eric Gilbert last year, so if Tennessee can load up on Trinity Bell, Miles Campbell, and Hudson Wolf, you kind of let the position work itself out, and then, perhaps one of those guys ends up at a different spot, on the field.
So Tennessee picks up a big athletic body today in the form of 6'7", 255-pound Trinity Bell out of Albertville, Alabama. Jesse, we appreciate it.